everybody. So today's podcast, we are going to talk about something that some of the people listening to this podcast may never have heard of. We're going to talk about the cardinal energies, okay? And I think before I learned astrology or had like lessons in astrology, my only knowledge of that word was some sort of priest or something in the Catholic Church.
Or
That
red
was
birds.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm not a bird watcher or whatever, but yes, I have heard of it. I have heard of it in the bird world, but I just didn't have a clue what this meant at all when I first learned astrology, and it really is kind of like part of the basics. So
There's so many tarot books, and for years I would just skip over the part where it said whether it was cardinal, fixed, or mutable, the certain cards, and it meant absolutely nothing to me. But knowing what I know now, it's like, wow, that's a lot of information.
yeah, absolutely. And cardinal energy, I mean, it's just everywhere, isn't it? I mean,
Yes.
as are the other energies too, but the world and everything in it would not exist without cardinal energy. It's like, it's that essential.
It truly is. Without it, there would be stagnation or chaos.
Mm. So how would you describe it, Sharon, if you had to just sum it up? What is cardinal energy? You know, what makes an energy cardinal as opposed to another form of energy, which we're not talking about today, but yeah.
Cardinal energy to me at this moment is that energy that brings excitement. It brings energy. It's that spark of creation, that ability to just stop thinking about something and go do it. It's that force, that aggressive change.
It's definitely related to change, I would say, and beginnings. And but I do feel it's dynamic. I do feel I don't feel it's a kind of like a delicate little sort of, you know, dipping your toe in and just kind of like just, you know, just to sort of see if something is, you know, what you want or not. I think it actually really, I just feel it's got more oomph to it than that.
Well, it has to be dynamic because cardinal energy is what takes fixed energy, which is just like it sounds, fixed. That's what takes fixed energy and gets it moving. And that's the only energy that can really corral or harness the mutable energy that's the chaos that can direct. Cardinal energy has the ability to direct others' energies to do what's needed to be done.
Yeah, I mean, but I feel that it can apply. It doesn't have to necessarily be about a person. It can apply to nature, you know, and it can apply to a thing as well.
Even
You know,
ideas.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Ah.
And I feel that if you are looking at astrology, there are cardinal energies in each of the elements. Every one of the elements has a cardinal version of it. So, you know, the cardinal elements are Aries for the fire signs, Capricorn for the earth signs. Where are we?
Air.
Air. So cardinal air is Libra, and cardinal water is Cancer.
And if you look at the astrological wheel as a compass or as a seasonal thing even, well, each of the cardinal points are north, south, east, and west. And I know I said that all in out of order because I don't do direction or time. And time-wise, the cardinal points are the beginning of each season. Summer, winter, fall, and spring. I forgot what they were there for a second.
Yes.
So it's the beginning of everything, and it's also the hard points on the compass. I think that's a good way to explain it. It's the
I think
hard
that's
point.
very important. Yeah. Yeah. And also they are a cycle because, like you say, with it being a compass, right, it continues to go round. So, you know, everything starts with the cardinal points, and will just continuously kind of go round and round and round. So, like, you know, the moon will sort of pass through all of the 12 signs, you know, starting at Aries. It will literally in the space of a month, it will visit all of the 12 signs, you know, and in order visit each of those cardinal points where it will have that kind of cardinal boost. And I feel that cardinal is crucial. I think you've already sort of said it, that if you're trying to get something done, or you're trying to get something off the ground or started, or motivating people, cardinal energy is kind of absolutely part of the deal, or it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that if I was a person who had no cardinal energy in my chart, but I was keen to kind of like do projects or something like that, I would have to kind of find my cardinal energy from outside of myself. I'd either have to mix with other people that had cardinal energy, or I'd have to wait until the planets in the sky were in the cardinal signs that were harmonizing with my other signs in some way, because there would have to be cardinal energy in the mix to get something going.
Yeah. Yeah, there really, really does. Especially, I know fixed energy truly needs cardinal because it gets stuck in its habits and its
Yes.
routines, even when it's unhappy there. And then poor mutable energy, it's all over the place, idea after idea after idea. Without some cardinal energy to harness it, they might start things, but they would totally never have the energy to see it through. They'd be off chasing something else. And that could be anything, not just people.
I do think that cardinal energy for me is quite singular. It's kind of like it's focused on a certain sort of point. Do you see it like that,
I do.
everybody?
It has to be. Otherwise, it would be be distracted, which
Mm,
borders into that mutability.
yeah.
So yeah, it does have to be focused. It does have to be singular. It has to be not aggressive always in a bad way, but aggressive enough to push other objects around it enough for them to move with it. That and cardinal energy is also something, it takes so much energy to truly start something moving or going or working, that it cannot exist by itself. It will peter out.
Yeah. So have you got cardinal energy, Sharon, in your
I
chart?
do, can't you tell?
I thought you might.
I'm a forceful child. Um, I do. I have a Libra ascendant,
Right.
and I have Cancer Mercury
Right.
and Aries Saturn.
Oh, okay.
So I've got quite a bit. And by house, cardinal house, Leo, Sun, and Jupiter. Leo, Sun, and Jupiter, and I can't even remember all the rest. No, I think that's by
Are you
house.
talking about what you've got on the angles, on the four
Yeah,
angles?
on the four
Okay.
angles. Oh yeah, and Mars on in the first house. So yeah, I've got quite a bit of cardinal energy by house and by sign, but ultimately I am a Leo, so I am quite fixed and lazy. So Mandy
Right.
cracks the whip at me.
So, Kevin, have you got cardinal? You have. We know you have.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yes.
my rising and my sun are, but also I've got like 6 or so planets in my sun, which is Libra. And so yeah,
Yes.
and then I'm trying to think of the other two. I don't think I have any Cancer. I know I think Mars is in Leo, and then yeah, and Venus is in Sagittarius. But then most of my other stuff's in Libra. So yeah, a lot. And then my
and in
moon
the
is Taurus.
seventh house. So by sign
Yeah.
and by house.
Yeah.
And what
Very
about you, Pavlina?
So I don't have any of those signs like in fixed, because I'm fixed sign all the way through, but I've got 6th house in Aries, and it's full work and very dynamic as well. my
So
my
you've got
daily life.
Aries, which is a cardinal sign,
Yeah.
in your 6th house. So your cardinal energy is brought to that house. Yeah,
Yes.
that's a very good point as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, like, where do the cardinal signs, where do they sit in your chart, even if you don't have any planets in them? Where are they?
And Mandy, have you gone full Scorpio, or are you willing to share your cardinal points?
So I've got Mercury in Capricorn.
That explains a lot.
Yeah, it's really weird. I forget about that, but it's major.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So that would be my only sign, that's only cardinal sign that has a planet in it, but it is Mercury. And yeah, I'm very kind of I don't know, my mind is always kind of like working, really.
Yeah.
That probably is why I can't do the flotation tank. But anyway,
that and that Gemini moon.
and the meditation problem as well that I can't do. So yeah. But as well as that, I've got on the kind of what do you call it, on the angles, I've got quite a bit in the 10th house, and I've got Jupiter and something else. I think what it is. One of the outer planets, might be Neptune, in the 7th house.
Ah, so we got a room full of cardinal energy going on here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think where Aries is. I've got nothing in Aries, but Aries in my chart would be on the 12th house.
12th, yep.
Yeah, without any planets in it. And Cancer, which is a cardinal sign, for me that would be third house, but with nothing in it. What are the others? Libra. No, I've got nothing in Libra either. So my Libra would be in my 6th house.
Yeah.
So that's where my cardinal signs would be. But obviously they will be affected by the transits that touch those houses.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, hopefully we haven't lost everybody talking about angles and houses and signs.
Yeah. But how would you relate the cardinal energy through to the tarot?
Well, predominantly aces,
Hmm.
pages are thought to be cardinal because they are beginnings. I've heard that queens are cardinal, but I honestly feel like it depends on which queen we're talking about.
Yeah.
So I don't hold much truck with that, but aces and pages and quite a few of the majors are considered cardinal energy. One of the biggest being the Tower. That is, if you can't think of what cardinal is, or just look at that tower, and that is total cardinal energy.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, gosh. Something like the Fool, I think, could be cardinal energy. You know, that he's absolutely out to just sort of jump into it. He's just ready to sort of spring into that adventure, whatever it may be, and then he's just off on that journey, that adventure, that trip. And I do see that as being pretty cardinal, to just wake up in the morning and that's it. I'm off. I'm off. But is it too unfocused though to be cardinal? I don't know. That's my only question on that.
Him, to me, he's a tricksy one because he's all of the energies. He's all potentials. He's zero. He's outside of time. He is
Right.
outside of space. So I think when he takes that step, that would be cardinal energy. But until then, he's the potential for all of it, which we all are potential for all of that energy. We just carry them out in different ways. But the Fool he's a tricky one because he kind of is everything unrealized.
Right. Yeah. Whoa. I'm just thinking about, would you see something like, say, the 8 of Wands as being cardinal energy?
Oh my gosh, yes. Yes. That strength, that singularity of mind between all the people who threw those wands for them to go, that was cardinal energy. It's still cardinal energy because it's still going full force.
Yeah.
But even there, that's a perfect way to describe that cardinal energy does not sustain without other cardinal energy to help, because even it doesn't matter how hard you throw a spear or a stick, it's going to fall to the ground at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I'm just trying to think of any of the other sort of, like, specifically any of the other cards that capture it. And I suppose if you do happen to get a reading where you've got a lot of kind of cardinal cards, say quite a lot of aces or quite a lot of pages or a mixture of them both, and maybe that 8 of Wands, and there must be others as well that we should be saying.
I think the 7 of Wands, but because he's on the defensive, a lot of people don't think that he's cardinal. They think he's
oh yeah,
another, but I think he is cardinal because he was caught unaware and he's ready. He's ready. He's up there on top of that mountain, prepared to defend if he needs to. But people say because he's defensive, but he's just feminine cardinal. A lot of people get cardinal confused with masculine because masculine is considered the aggressive polarity. And it's all cycles. He's cardinal feminine, even though he's a wand.
right.
He's cardinal feminine because he's ready to defend. He's prepared. Sorry, I got.
Okay, so what about something like the 8 of Cups, with that walking away from those cups? Would you class that as cardinal?
I'm not sure.
I know it's a much gentler sort of feel to it, but it is still a kind of like an action, isn't it? It's still it's something is happening. Something is would it be mutable because it's come from somewhere and it's going somewhere, or is that action actually cardinal?
Well, I mean, think about it. If you're leaving a situation like that where you took the time to put everything in order and only one cup was missing, it's very, very difficult to make a change if you're unhappy in a situation or something is missing. It would take cardinal energy, a massive amount of cardinal energy, to make somebody get up and walk away from something, even, that good, because we can see there are 8 cups there, just the one missing. I think it's cardinal. I think because it took so much energy to take up the will to walk away.
Yeah.
Because,
I mean, I just feel like starting to understand your tarot cards on this kind of level and kind of considering the astrological possibilities of it. Oh, here's Paulina, she's coming back. But try like recognizing these energies. And I know today we're talking about the cardinal energy in your tarot readings, especially if you've got quite a lot of cards that kind of like could be interpreted as this. That is really saying something and really making it could really give you confidence in what you want to say in your reading, and that what the gods are trying to tell you. You know, this is a situation that is about to change, that is about to have a fresh start, you know, that sort of thing. I mean, even something like, I don't know, I don't like the death card as a new beginnings card, but maybe in reverse, that could be like a cardinal energy.
I think in reverse that could be, but as upright, mutability, it's mutable. Death is change, but it's not something that we generally proactively seek. It's something that happens to us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
But
that's,
that
I think, the
cardinal
difference
energy,
between
well, okay,
cardinal. Oh,
that's
sorry.
that's an interesting point though, Sharon. Can cardinal energy happen to you rather than you from you?
Oh yeah, cardinal energy can happen to you, as in the tower. But if it's something like death, which happens to everybody, you know, now if I get hit by a car, that was cardinal energy that killed me. However, if I die of old age, that's my body changing to the natural order of things.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the situation sometimes, whether
Yes.
something is cardinal or mutable. But I think cardinal is something that you proactively seek or proactively happens to you, whereas mutable is more like indecisive or something that just happens naturally,
Right.
as
Right.
far as that goes.
Yeah.
Does that
Well,
make sense?
yeah, definitely. What do you think, Pavlina, about all of this? Because I know that you know quite a bit about astrology, but you're fairly new to the tarot. Does this help you a little bit with some of your tarot cards? This
It explains the tower card, why it's because it's a change must happen. Maybe you can see it. Something has to change.
yeah.
Makes sense. Otherwise, yeah, you need to keep trying and combine it with the signs as well.
Yeah. Does it help you understand the aces a bit more as well?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
And those pages are like very fresh and new cardinality, like that very tentative, I think, cardinality. Cardinal isn't always in your face and wah, but that's beginning something new. But you have to, I don't care who you are, even if you're fresh out of high school, you know, and you've got to face the whole world and change your everything in your life. Every high school graduate goes through that cardinal change where they have to proactively decide what to do with their life from then on. It's scary as hell.
There are some people who embrace new things a lot easier than other people. There's no question about that. I mean, some people are just terrified of change. It's so, you know, they almost have to like force themselves to do certain things, even though it might be definitely to their advantage. It's really, really scary for them. And other people, it's just they can't wait to do something new. You know, it's just a very, very different sort of level of comfort towards it.
And I see there's a thin line, I think, between cardinality and mutability. And sometimes it's so hard to differentiate the difference. You know what I mean? Is this cardinal? Yeah. Is this mutable? It takes some study to figure it out. It truly does.
Yeah. I feel the clue a little bit is that the cardinal for me is more singular, generally speaking. And also the cardinal can literally be from nothing to something, whereas the mutable can be from something and kind of going through various whatever it has to go through to become something else.
Yeah.
As a magician, and I'm talking about like a stage magician, some magic tricks change something. So, you know, you might put a white handkerchief into a bag and it comes out as a red handkerchief. That would be mutable. Whereas to have an empty bag and then to kind of do your magic trick and suddenly you've produced something that wasn't there before, that's cardinal. That to me is a sort of very simplistic understanding of the difference.
I love that. So the white handkerchief to a red handkerchief would be mutable.
Yeah, because
and
it's
nothing.
transformed it. You've transformed it from one thing to another. But the production of a handkerchief from nothing to something would be cardinal.
I really like that analogy. That was well put. And speaking of the magician card, I
Yes.
see him as cardinal because
Totally.
he pulls it out of nothing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. What do you think, Pavlina?
Now you explain me what means magician's card, because I was like always looking at the card. I was thinking, what does it mean? And now that makes so much sense, like that connection.
Yeah. He can absolutely create anything he wants to, depending on if he chooses to actually do it or not, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cardinal.
Yeah.
What about the emperor? Would you say he's cardinal?
Well, part of me sort of feels I'm supposed to say yes to that, because number one, he is representative of Aries, which is cardinal. And also, I just put him up there in Capricorn, which is also cardinal. So, you know, for two astrological reasons, we should call him cardinal. He doesn't look very cardinal because he just sits there fixed in that chair. So
Right.
the imagery to me is not cardinal. It's fixed. But the kind of what he's, you know, what do you call it? The spearhead or whatever of the two signs that he kind of, I would say, mostly represents are both very cardinal signs.
He's enforcement of the law, of
Yeah.
his law,
Yeah.
you know, of his country.
So
You
in
have
a reading, would
question?
you go either way with it? Like, just depending on what you're feeling and your intuition at the time says, would you go with it as a cardinal or a fixed energy depending on the day? I mean, is it just how you see it in that moment, or do you fix, this is what I do, this is how I say it?
Always go with your intuition. Never,
Yeah.
tarot should never be fixed.
Okay.
Yes.
Cardinal.
So not like me being with the book about
No. In fact, I think you could go so far as to say is tarot is a cardinal practice, because the idea is that we should be like empty channels. And every time we turn over those cards, it's what it triggers in that moment, what that card triggers in that very moment of that reading for that person with that question. And that is a cardinal practice, isn't it?
Yeah, and it also takes a great deal of courage to trust that instinct. So I think that courage that it takes is cardinal as well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I've never ever said that before or thought that before, but tarot, yeah, I would definitely, if you had to say which of the three energies is most appropriate for a tarot reader, it's got to be cardinal, surely.
There are those who would argue that it's mutable because we're open to the channels and we're trusting our intuition. But I think intuition is cardinal. It doesn't have to be loud and in your face. People will argue intuition whispers, but a whisper can be very cardinal too.
Yeah,
It just,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't matter how loud or how big or how strong it is. Cardinal can be many things. And I think intuition is one of them. It's up to us to pay attention.
And don't you feel as soon as you turn over that tarot card and your intuition just pops something into your head and out of your mouth, everything else then starts to roll because one thing leads to another.
Yeah.
But it all started with that moment of what the trigger kind of led to, in a sense.
Cardinal energy in one word, eureka.
Yeah. 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 Wow.
Something that that Squirrel and I have talked about was I was reading, I don't know which book it was, but like the way they had it set up is all the like cards one are just the aces, which we know are cardinal, but then they made all of the the twos, threes, and fours of each of the suit go with the cardinal sign of each of the elements. So Libra is 2, 3, 4, which is kind of weird, but like so the week like so the and then 2, 3, 4 of swords, and so and then it would be the fixed would be the 5, 6, 7, and then 8, 9, 10 would be mutable. It's weird. Have you ever heard of that?
I think you're talking about decants,
Yeah.
descants.
Definitely.
Oh, that's what it is. Oh, about like what time of the year and the like week it is.
Yeah.
That's a different thing. That's a different thing. Okay.
Yeah,
That was
because
where I
they
was
do
confused.
go astrologically by sign and all that different stuff. It's a pretty in-depth system.
Yeah.
It is
So that's
really
that's
great
not the
for
energy of
timing
it.
in tarot, but as
Yeah.
far as assigning those values to your readings, again, I mean, I do see the Emperor as very cardinal. Mainly in reverse, I would see him as fixed, but there have been occasions where in the upright position, never seen him as mutable or wishy-washy, not once, but I have seen him as fixed. It depends on, and I know this is really hard to grasp for a lot of people, but when you are reading and that intuition hits you and it's so loud when you finally started listening to it and you know the answer and that card is telling you the answer, it doesn't matter if it's not in a book. It doesn't matter if it was the keyword you were taught. You're not talking to the person who taught you. You're talking to the universe, to God. So intuition always holds precedent over anything you've learned.
Yes, 100%. I like that. I mean, it's interesting what you're saying though about the Emperor, because the Empress, I mean, I just go fixed with her. I just, as soon as I see her, I see the Venus and the Taurus, and it's very hard for me to kind of, I become fixed with that definition of her, to be honest. It's hard for me to see her in any other way than fixed energy, fixed
And the
earth.
only reason or that you ever should see her any different is if she speaks to you differently in a reading.
Yes,
You
and I
should
got to be
never,
open to that.
yeah. And you are. I've seen, oh my God, I've seen you turn a card over and say, wow, I've never seen it like this. It happened just recently. And you say what you think, because if we try to, especially during a reading, now, if we're practicing and playing around and seeing what can this possibly mean, you can go all out and say whatever you want. That's in practice. But if you're reading for the person across from you, if it doesn't say anything besides what you normally see it as, don't make shit up. It's that simple. But if she says something different, I guarantee you, if you're confident with your skills, the minute you open your mouth, the person across from you is going, oh my God, I was just thinking that. Or how did you know? Or yeah, that's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Just trust it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's interesting, though, you're saying that other readers might argue that tarot reading is mutable rather than cardinal. I can see that. But at the same time, that's because we're meant to be like open channels. But I don't necessarily see cardinal as being closed. I still think cardinal energy can be very open.
Yeah. And if it were mutable, if it were truly mutable, we would not be able to focus, like you said, cardinal energy is very so focused and singular. We would not have that singularity for that question. When tarot is mutable, it is very open-ended, it is very general, and it doesn't answer a specific question. It's kind of all over the place.
I would agree with that as well. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. So, Kevin, have you got any questions?
No, actually, the one that we talked, the deacons or whatever they're called, of the things, and that makes more sense now, because I was like, I was so confused as to why like a 4 would be a cardinal, because especially since 4 is a stable number,
Right.
and yeah, so I was like, as a number, it's not cardinal either. So yeah, so that makes so much more sense to me. Yeah,
And that's a system. There are a gazillion different systems out there. That's probably an exaggeration, but not by much. And different systems work for different personalities. If you are a cardinal person and you are presented with a fixed ritualistic system of reading or magic, it's not going to work for you because you're predominantly cardinal. That's why there's so many different magic systems out there, because we need something designed with how we perceive the world and what makes sense to us. Or we can't, we're not supposed to conform to somebody else's sense of magic. We are unique and magical all on our own.
I love that. Yeah. Pavlina, any questions? Is she there?
Not really. You've answered everything. Thank you.
Marvelous. So I think it's time for us to become very mutable and say goodbye to this Cardinal podcast.
Unless you're the 8 of Cups and you're going, goodbye, I'm out of here. No.
Yeah, okay, I'm going to get my cups and go. Yeah. So I thought that was a really interesting discussion. I hope it was helpful to people, both astrologically and in terms of understanding their tarot, not just the cards a bit more, but also the kind of the nature of what tarot is all about. I feel is definitely kind of represented in what we've talked about tonight. So hope it was interesting, and please like, subscribe. And we've got new listeners in, where are they, Sharon?
Russia. I'm so excited. We got, yes, Russia and Indonesia.
Yes.
So hello. We're so excited to have you.
Yes.
welcome.
Yeah, we've got listeners all over the place. So yeah, this is absolutely marvelous. So yeah, please say hello, even if you don't have any particular comment on the podcast. It's just nice to know who you are and that you're out there. And we will see you next week. So thank you for coming. Bye for now.
All right.
Thank you for engaging with us. Please like, subscribe and share. To book a personal, in-depth reading and to learn more about our incredible courses in tarot and astrology, please visit our website www.thepomegranate.grove.com.